them a shout out and welcome them. So first of all, I want to recognize the presence of one of our seniors here, Justice Obasi. He's someone I believe you will learn from, and he's an expert in his field. So please, he's in the group. Maybe after now, I'm going to tag him so that if you have any issues, you can also inbox him and ask. He will always be there to help you. Justice, please unmute your mic and say hi to the team.
Hi everyone. You're all welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. I believe they can all hear you. Okay, so Maria was like the first person to come here after Justice. Susan came in, and Kigali Peace, and then who's this? Abdelati. Sorry, I can't pronounce the name very well. So welcome again to everybody. Let's not take too much time. Let's go into the business of today. So today we'll be learning our aim of lessons today are flowchart, pseudocode, and Git. Yeah, a lot of persons have come and complained that they are having issues solving the problems they have on pseudocode specifically, and then Git. So first of all, I want to let us know that after your probation, I'm not sure you will use, like, you will have a tax on pseudocode again. So don't because of pseudocode you start having goosebumps. Okay, it is not something that you disturb yourself over after your probation. And also flowchart. It's just important that you know them so that when you are writing your codes, you can be able to implement them by just sitting down personally to write like step by step on how you could achieve at a particular point. And flowchart is important too, so that maybe flowchart and pseudocode are important too, so that if you want to give somebody your code to be somebody who doesn't know how to code, now you could give them your pseudocode and they could read and understand. For example, project managers. Project managers are people that they don't usually really know how to code, though they understand the concept, but then they are not professionals at coding. So it is your pseudocode or your flowchart that you could present to your project manager and who understand what you are trying to do. Okay? So that's that for pseudocode and flowchart. And then Git. Git is an important factor to you should know in the tech space. Because without Git and GitHub, I don't know how we'll be able to track down our changes. Now, also note that GitHub is not the only hosting service we have. We have other ones like GitLab and Vessel. You could look them up, but GitHub happens to be the most popular, I would say, and the most easier to use. So you could always fall back to anyone if you feel you just change something. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now while I take us on the business of today. Now, let us also note that I'll be starting off with either pseudocode or flowchart, and then someone will come in to take you on Git. Yeah, I arranged for that, for him to come and take you for Git. We were supposed to start with Git, but unfortunately, he's not available now, but he will join us soon. So we'll start off with pseudocode and flowchart. Okay? So I want to believe you can see my screen now. Susan, please, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, good. That means everybody can see my screen. So let me just go to my project here. Expand this. I'll try to make this as short as possible so that those who just came back from work could rest. Students who just came back from classes also rest. Okay. Not remaining. Yeah, should be not remaining. Okay. So flowcharts. I think I should start off with pseudocode. Yeah, that'll be easier for us to understand. So what is pseudocode? Now, it is not a rocket science. Oh, this is, sorry. I thought that was the text. Now, what is pseudocode? This is also YouTube. Okay, hang on. I thought I would have material to teach you from the internet. So, what is pseudocode? Now, pseudocode is a simpler version of a programming code in plain English. Yeah, that's how we call it. Yes. Before it is implemented in a specific programming language. That's basically what a pseudocode is. It's just you writing your program, but in plain English that anybody, even if he or she is not a programmer, can easily understand. How do I mean by this? Let's say you want to cook. Okay, you want to cook. Of course, there are steps you will take in cooking. For example, first of all, you check what you have in the house. First of all, you know what you want to cook. You check the ingredients you have in the house, then you see it, and then you know the ones you should go and buy. And then you check your wallet. Do you have enough money for this? Yes, no. Okay, you have. You walk down to the market or you drive down to the market, buy what you want to buy, you come back. Now, all these are steps you could take in cooking. At the end of the day, you arrive at having a pot of rice or a pot of anything you just prepared. Now, that is what a pseudocode is all about. A step by step on how you could write your program. For example, let's say you want to write a program. Let me go to your intranet here. Let's say they said calculate the sum of squares of given input of numbers. Now, first off, when we read questions, we should try to understand them, break them down into simpler versions so we can understand. Here it says calculate the sum of squares, meaning if you have a number, first of all, you get the square of that number, and then the other one, you also get the square of that number, and then you calculate the sum of the squares of the given input of numbers, which means our user is supposed to pass these numbers as input. Okay, you are going to create a flowchart and pseudocode. Create the algorithm in the flowchart, save screenshot. Okay, we already read that. Now, how do you do this? First of all, let me close this, and then I'll open. Okay, hold on. Let me open an online compiler. Okay. I'm not going to write any code. I just want to write it in simple English, so you could also understand follow it. So at the end of the lesson today, you should be able to handle pseudocode, flowchart, and Git. Okay, so I have a text editor open here. Let's not see this as I'm writing code. No, I just want to use it to write plain English. Now, our problem says we should calculate the sum of squares of given inputs of numbers. So, which means the first thing you will do is to start. Yeah, that is like the first step you take in writing your pseudocode. Or let's say whenever you want to run your program, of course, you are going to start. So in everything you are going to write, always be sure that you include start. It's very important. So you are going to start. Hold on. Okay. So I will start my program. Yeah. And what is the next thing? Let's go back to the intro. It says calculate the sum of squares of given input of numbers, which means before I'm able to calculate the squares or calculate the sum, I need to have the numbers. That means I need to collect the input from my user. So that means after I start, the first thing I should do is to read input. Now, when you are taking input from a user, it is read because you are taking it from the keyboard. Yeah, your program is reading it. Okay, then when you are displaying output, you can call it display or anything like that. But when you are taking input, it is called read. Okay, so the next thing here is for me to read my input. And then when I read my input, what does the next thing say? They calculate the sum of squares of given input, which means before I get the sum here, I should get the squares of these two numbers, right? So what's the next thing you do? You might not understand what a variable means, but I will set a variable called square. That variable called, I'll just name it SQR. And then I will calculate the square. Now, the square of a number is that number multiply itself. Okay? So, which means in this case, what I'll have is my A times A. And then I could say, I could just say comma, then B times B. Now, let me also correct us on something. When you're writing your programs like this, always make sure you make it precise and clear. So always add spaces like this so it could be neat. That is one thing you will learn when you start to write C in top of the standard. So now I've taken my input. I've taken my input here. Now I'm calculating the square, which is a times a and b times b. Now what do I do next? I add up my squares because they said calculate the sum of these squares. So what's the next step there is for me to add my square. So I would say add sqr and assign to variable. Please, whenever you see var in this our session, it means variable. To variable name sum. So it will look like this: sum equals a times a. No, I say plus b times b. So this is next step here. And what should we do next? Of course, we display our output. I could say print square or print sum or display sum. You could say display output. And then after that, what do? You end your program. So you see now with this, anybody could just read and say, okay, we start the program, we read input AB, we set variable square equals to my A times A. Let's say I took 1 and I took 2 as my A, so it will be 2 times 2, 4. And then in this place, I took maybe another 2, it would be 2 times 2, 4. And then I add my squares and assign to variable name sum. In this case, I have sum equals to my square plus my square, which is 4 plus 4. And then I display my sum, which is going to be equals to 4 plus 4 is 8. And then I end the program. So this is a step-by-step of how you could achieve this. That is what a pseudocode is all about. Writing your code in plain English so that anybody who reads it, even if it's a non-programmer, will be able to understand it. Okay, so this is another one here. I'm going to solve this and then I won't solve this. And I'll let you do the next thing. So this is tax 1. Other matches with 80. Okay. So to develop an algorithm that reads in 3 numbers and writes them all in sorted order. Okay, so what do we get here? Reads in 3 numbers, which means we still need to read in input 3 numbers. This time around it could be ABC, right? Okay, sorry. And write them all in sorted order, which means when I take my input, I will look for a way to, let's say I took in 3, 4, or let's say 5, 3, 6. So it will be 3, 5, 4. My display should be 3, 5, 4. So how do I do this? Let me go back to my compiler. Now with this here, I could easily, let's say I'm writing a C program. It would be easier for me to just start writing this. Very easy, because I've seen what I should do already, if you know the syntax. So I'll just clear this. So in this one now, how do I do it? I will start my program, first of all. And what should I do next? I'm going to read input ABC. I could also, first of all, initialize this variable. Let's not even talk about that. So I'm going to read input ABC. Those are my 3 inputs. Remember, they say read in 3 numbers and write them all in sorted order. Now, what do I do next? I will set up an if condition. Now, set if condition. Now, what do I mean by set if condition? This is conditional statement that is going to say, okay, if this is greater than this, shift it to here. If this is less than this, take it back. If this is greater than this or less than this, you take it here. So in that case, by the end of it, we should have our program displayed to the screen as smallest, smaller, and small. Okay, that's correct. So I'll set my if condition saying the condition should be, let's say I'm writing this as program. The condition is going to be, let's say B. Yeah, B is less than A. Yeah, I think that's how I'm supposed to write that. I'll say B is less than. You could write it in your mathematical terms. To still work. B is less than A. Now, if B is less than A, now let me introduce another variable here. So in this case, I want to swap the numbers. So I will need another variable where I should store the first number I would want to begin with. So in this case, I'm going to name a variable. Let's say I name it temporary. Yeah, it's a temporary variable. So in that case, what do I do? I'll say set this temp equals to my A. Yes. Set TMP equals to A. What do I mean by this? So if B is less than, that is this B, if B is less than A, you assign A to 10. Follow the steps you will understand at the end of the program. So I will set 10 equals to A, right? And then the B I have here, what do I do with it? I will set it to become the, okay, let me not do it like that. I think this should be, yeah, A equals to B. Then this is going to be equals to my 10. So I'm trying to swap the numbers. So if B is less than my A, what do? I should assign that A to B. So that means my B becomes number one number here because it's less than A. See, I'm checking the condition now. So if B is less than A, I shift it to where A is by giving what is in it into A. Okay, and then I come in the next line and say my B here should be equals to my temporary variable now. Now, that's, you want to understand the use, but you'll see the use now. Now, I've gotten that, right? And then I'll set another condition that will test my C, set condition, that is going to test my C variable. Now, what should this condition say? It will say, if C is less than B, let's use this, it's less than B. If my last number here is less than B, remember our B is this, is less than B, what should happen? Set this to what? To B. Yeah, set this to B. Now, why do you even have to do that? Yeah, set B equals to 10. Okay? Yes, set B to 10. Now, I swap the B again, and then I give my B value to my C. So I will say B equals to, I hope you are following this, it's very, very critical. Now, if you watch, I have, in a way, when this was less than this, I gave it to A, so it becomes the first number. And then the value that was in 10, I gave it to B. Okay? And then I set another condition and say, if this last number here is greater than this second number here, what should I do? Set this B equals to 10, like I reverse the number. And then the B should be equals to C. You see that? Because if this is less than B, of course, it should take the position of C. So that means we have our smallest number already, the next number there ready. So what do we do again? We could set up another condition to swap the last number, to check the last number now being the highest. So I set another condition. What should I say in this condition? It should be, if my B is less than A, again, if my B is less than A, what should I do? Now, my B is this. So if my B is less than A, what should I do? I think I should set my 10 here. Yeah. Set 10 equals to, say, A. Yes. So if B is less than A, now remember our term here is B. So we said if C is less than B, in this case, that means C should come here. And in the condition we have here is that now if this B is now less than A again, because we've changed the number of this. If that particular number there is less than A again, what do? You carry the value that was in B, give it to A. So that means it becomes, that small number now becomes the first number again. And what next? And now this should be the last procedure where we give B, yeah, give B to 10. Yes, give B to 10. But it's like our last number. Okay, no. I think this should be, yes, there's confusion here. This should be, okay, yes, that's correct. 10 equals to A, it's correct. And then I'll set my B equals to A, of course. Yes. So what happened here? If B is less than A, again, what happened? The value we had in B, the value we had in 10, which was our small value here, give it to A. That means shift it to the A position. Now, give the value of A, that's you shift the value of A back to B. So B takes the place of A, and A takes the place of B, because B is less than A in this case. Now, what's next? we could say B. No, not B. C. Yes. No. No, B would be. Okay, so let's the program end because we have A equals to B equals to 10, and condition we have another B equals to 10, B equals to C, set condition B less than. Yes. Now, this is the last part, and then we display our output. I think that's the end of the program. So if you follow this carefully, perhaps if you use numbers, you replace this with numbers. That could be an assignment to you. If you replace this with numbers and follow these steps, you arrive at having the small, the next number, the big number, and then the biggest number. I hope we got the procedures. Now, let me remind you again that pseudocode is not something that they will give you a tax on again. No, after now, you won't. After this, your second week. After this, you will do it again. But after then, you might not do it again throughout the program. But then, you need to know it because you might want to use it in, let's say, when you actually start to write your own program. You just want to know you have a very difficult program and you want to like write the steps you could use to achieve that particular program. Yes, so you need pseudocode to do that. Personally, I don't actually write it like this, like following the format like this, but I always write the steps I could use to write my code because without that, if you just jump into the computer, you won't know what to do. But you sit down and plan it and say, okay, this is what, let's say they gave you a task to print from A to Z. Let's say to display an alphabet from A to Z using a function. Now I'll sit down and see how I can draft out this function step by step till I get to the end. And once I'm done, I jump into my computer and I start to write it following that format. I have a special book where I do that. So I would advise everybody to also have a special book where you could use to maybe write your pseudocode, not professionally, but just for you to write your pseudocode, for practice purposes. Now, for you to get better at writing pseudocode, you practice. And how to practice, you should use the daily activities you do to practice. What do I mean? Let's say you want to prepare something. What do you do? Just for practice purposes, you could write how you could get to that point to cooking whatever you want to cook. Yeah, it helps. And then maybe you want to go somewhere, you could write the steps you could take to arrive there, and then you follow it too by the time you start. It helps, it improves. I did that. Even till now, in fact, I got used to it that whenever I want to do something, I just sit down and start saying, okay, I will do like this, I will do like that, I will do like this. That's become part of me. So let me give chance for questions now. So Stephen, please ask your question.
Evening, everybody. Evening.
Okay. Good evening.
Yes. Just have one question. I don't understand your pseudocode for the swapping ABC temp. Please, can you do it another time, please?
Okay, no problem. If I have the chance, I will take us on that again. But we need to move now. What I want to tell you now, the homework I want to give you now is, look at this. Perhaps you could screenshot it right now and then replace these values with numbers. You could give this 10, you could give this 6, you could give this 1, and then start to rearrange them, like replace them with the real numbers and see what you arrive at the end. Yes, that is going to help you like really see how it works. So that's the homework I would give you. If you finish with it, you could inbox me too, and then we gist about it. If possible, try another one. So that should be your homework as a personal thing. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So nobody have another question to ask? You might not really clearly understand it, but if you start to practice with it, and as I said earlier, you may not need it. You may not, all through the program, you may not need it, but then the simple things you do, you will need it. Yes. So Adetule Ayomide, please ask your question. It's quick, so we can move to the next thing.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Ayomide.
Yes. Please, the swapping, I just want to clear something on it. I don't really understand. You said this B equals to A. Is it that if we give it a value, let's say maybe A is 10 and B is 20, is it that B will take that 10 and that A will take 20, or A will be equals to 20? That means the value of B will be relevant and it will take
Okay. Okay, let's say our A is 20, right? And our B is, let's say, 10, right? So in this place, it says set A equals to B. So which means in the next line, A is now equals to B. So A should be equals to 10. Yeah, this is what it means. So the value of A now at 10. Now let's say this was, C was like 15, 15, 5, and then T was like 9. So wherever you see a value like this, so the value of A has changed in this place, and then the value of B becomes the value of 10. Okay, it was 3 inputs. Yeah. Value of now, this is empty. This doesn't have anything yet. So your value could just be equal to T, and then you move into having B is equal to 10. So if C is less than B. Now I won't have time to really follow this. So if C is less than A, yeah, in this case now C is definitely less than A. So what happens? You set B equals to this. Okay, we set this again. And there's no value there. Now if B is less than A, of course B is 0 in this case. You set your 10 equals to 10. Yeah, so this is what I mean. Yes, you swap. Now, for every place you swap it, the value has changed. So you go on like that. You don't say when this has changed, let's say this change in this place, and you want to use A again, you go back and use 20. No, it is now 10. That's what I mean. That's what the swap means. You swap it in actual sense. I don't want us to do this because this is the homework I just gave somebody now. I want you to follow it and then send me a screenshot of what you got. Okay? Adetule?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. So I believe nobody has a question again. I will say it again. Don't disturb yourself over pseudocode. This is not something you are going to do throughout the program. You only do it twice. After your first week, the second week, and then you do it again because after your probation, you will still do the same things you did in the first 2 weeks. Yes. So please don't dwell in it. But it's good you actually know it. It's important. So let's go to the next thing. This was pseudocode. Okay, the next thing here is flowchart. Okay, flowchart is another interesting one. Yeah, why do I say it's interesting? Now, flowchart is basically you representing these steps with diagrams. Yes, so each of these steps you have here, that is what flowchart is. And each of the diagram have meanings. Yeah, so in actual sense, I would say flowchart is a diagram that visually represents a workflow or a process using set of symbols. Yeah, that was how I was taught. Or icons to denote different actions, decisions, yeah, within the process with arrows showing the next step. That is what flowchart is. So let's go to your intranet and see what we have here. So why should you use a flowchart? Now, some persons may read your pseudocode and then because of, let's say, the complexity of how you wrote it, okay, so they might also find it difficult. But then using a flowchart gives you you seeing it how it is being done. Yeah, that is why you should use a flowchart. Because okay, let's see it. Flowchart provides another way of approaching or understanding a workflow. See, another benefit is that when done well, flowchart can be understood by non-developers and by developers that do not know the language the process is written in. So let's say you write codes in Python and I write in C, and then I write a program. Since you don't understand C, I could easily give you in a flowchart or in a pseudocode, and with that you could easily understand it and implement the same program in your Python. So that's one of the importance of using a flowchart. That's basically what flowchart is all about. So let's say, like in the previous example we did, where you go to let's say adding the numbers, take input and then add the two numbers. So how would you do this? In this case, you will need to use your English. You will go on to using symbols for it. So you can see various symbols here. We could just go ahead and go through it. You will better understand. So what does arrow mean? Now, arrow is just basically showing you the order at which you are writing your program. So it shows you that from here, the next step is going here, or from here, the next step is going here, depending on the condition you've set. That is what the arrow does. Now, the arrow could be in 4 ways. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, 4 ways, but you really use the up one because you won't want to go back into your program, except you could use one that goes here, and goes here back into the program. So that's what an arrow does. It shows you the flow of your program. Now, what does this is not a circle, yeah? This is like a sphere. Yes. So it is the terminal. Let's say you remember your Git bash. Your web terminal. So this could be a representation of it. Yeah, let's say you're writing a code where to start it. Yeah, when you want to start, of course, you start writing your code on the web term there or on your terminal. It could be any terminal at all. Your sandbox there, it could be Git bash. So this is what you use to denote the start of your program. So in this place where we said start, in this case, a circle should be what you use in representing that start. That is what this does, a terminal or a terminator. Now, and this should also be your end. Yeah, so in this case, when we're ending our program, I didn't put in here. Very wrong. When you're ending your program, you're always represented with a circle. Yeah, now rectangle is the process. Now, what is the process? The process is this case here. All these places here are the process we take in writing our program. So all these are the process. Now, what your program does, what it actually does, that is the process of you writing. So how do you do it? You denote it with this. So if you were to write this again, this is going to be your circle. Your circle. Now, input stands for another thing. We'll get that. And this should be your rectangle or square. Okay, now let's look for the next one. So good. Now we have this is a parallelogram. It represents input and output. That is you taking input and you displaying output. So as I said, we'll come back to this. So in this place, you will denote this with a parallelogram. So after your circle, you put an arrow, and then you draw a parallelogram. You put an arrow again. You will draw a rectangle. Put an arrow again. Let's say what you have next is output. What do? You put your parallelogram again, and then you put your arrow again. What do you have next is the end. What do? You use a circle. Now note that here we have different processes. So you won't just use one rectangle and put everything inside. You could represent each of them with a rectangle. Yeah. And also here we had conditional statements. Yeah, which means if this is true, do this. So this is a process here now. So if this is true, you put the arrow to go down and do this. But if it is false, you could maybe, if it is false, you should do another thing. So you could use another arrow here to go maybe up here, go back to the program and perform another thing. Yeah, so you could just be dynamic to drawing your flow chart. Now, what does this is a square? Decision or conditional statement. Yeah. So where we have like if statement, switch statement, you get to understand that later. You could use that square. Now, mind you, it's not a straight square. This is how you are going to write it. So these are the decision or conditional statement. Statement that could give you true or false. That is where like our if statements now is checking for if this is less than this. Is it true? You do this. Is it false? You do that. So that is where you use that particular square. And then this is a document. I'm not sure you're going to use this, but you present a document. Document could be PDF or another link to, let's say you're writing a C program and you want to read in, let's say, a file. Yeah, you want to read a file. This is what you use in presenting it in your flowchart. Okay, but I think for now you don't need this. Yeah. So this here is a rectangle bar with these lines in between them. What does it do? It's a predefined process. I didn't use this. So you see, most of the things they're going to give you are simple things. Okay, so a process that can be used in the current process but defined elsewhere. Okay, this is like having inner loop. Let's say a nested loop. I won't understand that, but let's say I have this if statement or if statement here, and then I want to check another condition instead of this if statement. So that means that if statement is inside of this if statement. Now that's exactly where you use this. Okay, that is that. You're not going to use this, I'm not sure. Because the program they're giving you just to add 2 numbers, 3 numbers, there's no place you're really going to use a nested loop. But in your future programs, you might want to do that yourself. You won't use this. Yeah, this is like additional info about a particular step. Let's say this could be like it's not a comment, but let's say, let's say this does not work, and the else statement, that's going back here, is not also true, what happened? You could have another notation there to show that, okay, do this. Now, let's say you're writing your program and it's now complex. Okay, it's now complex that somebody cannot easily understand. So this is what you should use to explain it. This, yes, like comment is even here. So that's what you use in, like, when you start writing your programs in C. There are times that you write something complex that your partner is not going to really understand. So you could use that to say, okay, this is what I did here, this is what happened. That is where you use this. On page connector is connecting you to another page. So let's say this is let's say I call this to be a function that does just one thing. Yeah, and then I write another function here that does another thing. Now I could declare a condition that says if this happens in the program, run this function, the whole of this. But if it doesn't, leave this function entirely and come and execute this function. That is what this is used for, on-page connector, to connect you to the next, let's say, statement. You could do your research on this and you understand. You could look for programs that was drawn with flowcharts, and you'll see how this is used. Yeah, they'll give you an explanation of this. Now, this is like opposite of this off-page connector to connect this process to the next step, which is on another page. So in writing a C program, there are sometimes that you need to import something from another file. Let's say this is one of my C program is main.c. I could have another file that is named header.h. That's my header file, right? And then you want to bring in something from that particular file. What do? This is what you use. Showing that, okay, this is not in this page, or it's another page that I brought it. That is what you use. Yeah, data file or database. This is where we store things. Let's say you write a program that has to take user input and store it in a database. This is what you use in representing our database. This is quite common, even on the internet. Whenever they are representing a database, this is what they use. Could even be your hard disk in your computer. This is how you present a database. So that is just a rundown of what you could do with pseudocode. Flowchart. Now I want to repeat: don't disturb yourself over this. Yeah, it's not something that they will give you tax again on ALX. But then in your personal lives, you might need it. Now, I talked to a couple of persons, professionals. They said that programmers don't even usually write the flowchart, that they have people, that write the flowchart. So just like we have departments, UX designers, UI designers, we have project management, we have software developers, we have front-end developers, back-end developers. That is how they also have people that could do this for us too. So you as, let's say, front-end is going to follow that step and write this program. You as the back-end will follow that step too and write this program. So you might not really do it in a professional life, but if you don't know it, how then will you be able to interpret that which you are given? So it's very, very important. So before I move to Git, I want to give room for questions. Does anybody have? Git is not here. Git is not here. So does anybody have questions? You are open to ask now, please. Yeah, this is Git. Oh, nobody have questions, which means we sort of understand pseudocode in a way, not professionally, but we now know how we could implement it. So let's go to Git, which happens to be the part I so much love because I get to write code. Okay, I'm always in love when I write actual code. It's fun. So first of all, what is the aim here? I hope you usually watch or read this. Very important. Don't just, once you come to your internet, you rush off to, let's say, your quiz or your task. No. First thing you should do is to go through your materials. Very important. Yeah, sometimes I study ahead. You see this, my planning. If you click on that, you see the program from beginning to end, what you will do. So you could just look at what will I have tomorrow, and then you go on to read about it this night, so that by tomorrow you have heads up on what is going to happen. Okay? So let's move into Git. So they said, what is source code management? What is Git? Now, what is source code management? Now, source code is basically the code you write. Yeah, let's say this is my code. Yeah, this is my source code. So what does it mean to manage a source code? Let's say you are writing an application. Let's say Facebook. Yeah, you're the one writing Facebook. Now, from month to month, from weeks to weeks, or from day to day, Facebook is going to have a new feature where they could add another feature that does something. And then what happened? They will give you a prompt to update your Facebook, or we could use Slack in this example, this incident. Now they will give you a prompt that okay, update your Slack to the new version. Whenever they say we should update our app, that means they've added something to it. Now, source code management is you managing that code. Okay. Let's say you write a program this month, and then next month you want to implement something. Of course, you won't go on to destroy the one you've written before. You will just go and take a copy of that and write the new program in it, and then you test it. Does it work? Does it do this? It doesn't. You delete something, you add another thing. Now that is what source code management is all about. Now, when you've written that program and it works perfectly, the feature you added works. What do? You replace it with the older one, and then it is deployed, and then you get a prompt from your own end that okay, update your application. That is what source code management is all about. Yeah. So what is Git? Git here is a command line interface. Git is also said to be a version control system, VCS for short. What does it mean to control the versions? Yeah, something like that. So this is also about source code management. So for you to be able to access your code that you wrote, of course, you will need a software or a technology, and this is where we use Git. Like on your webcam now, you could call your webcam Git, because that's where you're able to write your codes, and then you take it to GitHub. You store it there. If tomorrow, let's say you did something wrong, right, and then you check it does not work, what do you do next? You go back to your web terminal, which is your Git, and then you delete or you rewrite something, and then you push it back to your GitHub. Now that is an example of source code management. And then Git in this case is our version control, using it to control the versions, the program, the application. The other version is outdated. You add a new feature, you push it, and then you deploy, people use, and then you add another feature. So this is what Git is about. Okay, now what is GitHub? Now it will be important for you to know that Git and GitHub, they have no relationship. Yeah, they are even owned by different companies. Yeah, in fact, Git has been before GitHub. So don't mind the name, it's just a coincidence. Okay, so what is GitHub? GitHub could be said to be where you store your codes in simple terms. Yeah, where you store your codes, exactly. So that is what GitHub is. So you've noticed that whenever you write your code, what do? You push it to GitHub to keep it there. Okay, if you want to change something, you could change it from your command line, which is your Git. You push it back. Let's say you make changes in your GitHub directly. What do? You pull it to your Git or your web terminal. Now, that is what GitHub is all about. It is a source code management application or software, or you could say is an online hosting service where you host your codes. As time goes on, maybe when some of you start to do the front end, you could deploy your codes into GitHub, and then you link your website to that particular code. That when you click that code, it goes to the website and it shows you what you do. Okay, GitHub is also very important in terms of the professional aspect, because by the time you want to apply for jobs, of course, they will want to check your GitHub. What have you done? What projects do you have? That is GitHub. The difference between Git and GitHub, one of the differences is that Git is a command line interface and GitHub is an online hosting service. That's the biggest difference between both of them. Git is where you write your code. GitHub is where you store codes. Now, how to create a repository? I'm sure we already know how to do that. Yeah? How do we create a repository? Just for the sake of others, when you are logged into your GitHub, you could click on here, yeah, and then you see new repository. You click on it. I believe we already know how to do this. So you just put in your repository name. Let's say ALX low level programming, ALX something ALX. Then you put the description for what the repository is all about. You put it on public. You don't want people to see it. You put it on private. Then initialize this repository with add a README file. Now you could want to add a README file from your GitHub here, but you could always leave that. Now add .git ignore. Now you won't need to know this, yeah, but then don't bother yourself about this. By the time you start writing, there's a way you get to on the Git, your project on Git, you do something with this. Now this is a hidden file you have on your terminal or on your repository, but don't bother about that yet. License, you want to add license or you want to keep it on none, everybody can access it. Then you create your repository. That is how you create a repository. Yeah. What is a README? Now, a README is basically a documentation telling people about your repository or about what the program you wrote is all about. That's what a README file is all about. Now, you might have noticed that whenever you want to, let's say, install an application, it always comes with something like README. Yeah. Now, it might give you ideas, information about that software you want to install. That is README. How to write good READMEs. There's no standard way of how to write good READMEs, but your README should be clear. People should understand, okay, this is what this repository is all about, what this directory is all about. Yeah, that's just it. Yeah, and you could also include headings. Including heading in repository, you could use the hash symbol. Now, if you write hash, it will give you a size. If you write two hash symbol, and then you write your heading to give you another size, but you shouldn't worry yourself about that. But how to write a good README should be clean and clear. How to commit? I think we should just write a program and practicalize this. So I'm going to open my GitHub. I won't be using your web terminal, but everything works the same. It's the same thing. My Git bash is just a standalone application. Okay, while WebTime is just something we have on the internet for us in case you're not able to have any of these. So, okay, so let me just go. I think I have a folder where I did for cohort 12. Okay, yes, I have it. Cohort 12. Okay, so the last time I took us on something, we did something. Yeah, so let me clear my screen. To clear your screen, you could easily type CL clear, or you could just hold Ctrl L and clear the screen. So we are in cohort 12. Now, whenever you log into your GitHub, what's the first thing you do? You cd into root. So in this case, I'm going to cd. Now, let's ignore the slash. I didn't put the slash, but in your own, always put your slash. The slash denotes that is your home directory. So I hit enter. So now we are now in our root. And you could go on to whatever repository. Let me share the screen. Okay, so let's write a program. Let's write a program. Now we have create an account on GitHub. I have that. Create a personal token on GitHub. I believe we know how to do this, so I shouldn't just go over it again. Update your profile on intranet. If you don't know how to do this, you just go over to your profile, and then you go over to here, put your GitHub username. You could go on to do all of this. It's good. I won't add this. I should add this today. That just reminds me. Okay. So we already know how to do this. Now create your first repository. I believe we already done that. So I'm just going to, on my own side, let us assume that I have cloned my repository called ALX0D. So I'm just going to create it. Then I'll cd into it. I'm now in ALX0D. So how do you create a README file? Now you could just echo something inside of it, and then I'll say this is my README file, and then you use this to write into it. That's what you use in writing into your file, readme.md. Hit enter. Now we have a README file. Now if I should cut it, readme.md. You see, this is my README is here. So I'm going to delete that. So I've deleted that. Now you could also create using your text editor called VI. So I'll just okay, so now this is your VI. And then to enter insert mode, you click on I. Then you start to write your README. This is my README file. And then to go out of your insert mode, you click on escape. And then you exit your file with :WQ, hit enter. And then if I cut my README, you you see we have this is my README file in it. So that is how you create a README. And they say how to write a README. There's no precise way of writing README. But what I do actually, I try to include some of these things, like what they taught us on that particular topic. I don't really do that, but just in some cases I do it and write it. So you could also do that. But everybody's disturbed about how to finish a task. Nobody has time for that. So I could just write this is my README file and then I leave it. My checker will check it for me as far as it is correct. Open the sandbox, we know how to clone your repository. Now, let me show us another way we could clone your repository. Sometimes we go to a very long step in doing it. Let's say I want to, let me do something we already know. Something we know, 0 day. Oh, I already created 0 day. Okay. Somebody's calling me. Okay, so let's say I want to clone this 0 day. Okay, so after creating, maybe perhaps you could just leave it. When you come back, you see this code here, just click on the code. It opens up HTTPS, SSH, and GitHub, CLI. Just copy this. Okay, 0 day, right? So let's say I want to clone a repository called 0 day. So you just copy that. So I'm just going to delete this. I'll say rm-r. Caps lock, ALX movement, ALX cap. So I've removed that. Yeah, I've moved that. So I'm going to say git clone, and then I paste my URL. I hit enter. That's a simple way of you cloning. You don't have to start putting your token and all of that. You see, I have cloned my repository. I'm going to cd into my repository, which is ALX 0 day, and if I ls, see, I have everything here. Now, the next thing you should do is to update your identity. Yeah, always do that. If not, by the time you try to push, you start asking you for password. So it is usually git config -- global, hope I'm correct, and then user dot name, and then always put your username, let's say in quotes. David in Michael, that's my username. I hit enter, and then I do another one for my email, git config -- global user.email. Now you don't have to put your email address in code at gmail.com. Yes, you don't have to put it in code. Just hit enter. Yeah, now I've updated my identity. What is the importance of this? So that whenever you push to your GitHub, let me expand this. Let me show us the importance of that. Whenever you push to your GitHub, it will say you are the one that did that. Like, see my commit. Now, you see, it shows that I'm the one that did this. Now, if I had not done my identity update, it will just show a random thing here, like author. Yeah, it won't show your name. So it's very important that you always do identity update, and also to prevent you from it asking for your password every time. Yeah, some of us may have experienced that. So always do that. Update your identity. Now, okay, we've created our README file. What's next? Because now we've done that. So you don't need to even do any of this, but it's good you do it. Now the command to paste on your web terminal is Ctrl+AV, of course. Okay, what else should we do? I've created my README, and my first README, my own, I have something different. So, okay, so that's the first task. Then you push. How do you push? So let me just modify something on this. What do I have here? I have my README. So let me open up my README. Let me cut my README. I'm sure I didn't write anything using it. Okay, my first README. So let's say I remove that. I remove it. You can see. Okay, so you can see it's no longer here, right? So I'm going to. I could use echo because it's short. This is my README. Sorry, what was the text? My first README. Echo it again. My first README. Then I echo it into my README. And now, so how do you push? To push, you just go on to do git add. Now, when you put a full stop like this and then you hit enter, it means you should add all the files you have here to the stage. Yeah. So that means you want to commit and push all the files. Let's say I want to push only README. I could use the name. Okay, sorry. That means I put it. Okay. So I could just use the name git add README because I want to push only README. You can do that. Then you hit enter. Then you do git commit. What is commit? Commit is basically the message you want people to know. Okay, what did you change? What did they say we should use for our commit message here? Add this file to commit, my first commit. So it's always try as much as possible to have it the way it is written. If not, your checker is going to give you error. I think that's just for now. Because when you start writing your own program, nobody will disturb you about the kind of commit messages. You hit enter, nothing to commit because I'm still having the same file. Now you say git push, nothing to push because I did not really change anything. It's the same thing I wrote that is still there. But that is how you add, you commit, and you push. Okay. So let's just go through something. Create a new directory called, okay, inside of this place, you should create this. I'm sure we already know how to do that. So I have mine here. I wouldn't want to conflict my file that I have on GitHub. So I should just remove this and perhaps I could create my own. Yeah. No write protected regular file. Okay. Write protected, right? Okay. Cannot remove LX, directory not empty. Okay, I could do rm dir and then al. How to remove LX, directory not empty. Okay, but this is supposed to work. LX. Okay, no problem. I'll just leave it for now. So I'm going to create another directory. No, I already created something. So I want us to do one task. Okay, 0 day. I already have. No, that's not it. Let me create another 0 day. ALX 0. I'll just keep it on 0. Hit enter. CD into ALX 0. Okay. So I'm going to ask us which of the projects here do we find difficult in this this whole Git project? Which of them do we find difficult? Let me attend to that particular one. Please provide the code or the video after for reference. We are moving to click. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Just try to follow suit. There will be a video for it. So which of the projects in Git do we find difficult? Let me do that particular one for us. Which number of projects do we have issues with? Or you don't understand, you want me to go over it again? Tell me, let me go over it and try to do it here so we can see the procedures. Anybody? Click on this button here and I'll see your hand. Then I'll tell you to speak. Okay, Gen A, please, tell me. Gen A, please, unmute your mic so you can hear us. Also, we can hear you, rather.
Hello.
Okay, hi. I can hear you now.
I have a problem with the git push. I tried doing it and then I always get the feedback, branch master.
Branch master.
Yes.
Just branch master.
Yes, they write a lot of things, but that's the main thing that they've written like boldly for me to like really read.
Okay. Okay, I'm not sure it's branch master. It's when I see the, excuse me, if I should see the error message, then I will know what to tell you. I can't just know what's branch master because it's. You said?
I'm not around right now. I'm using my phone. I'm out.
Okay, no problem. It's when I see the error message, then I will know how to go about it because it could be anything. Branch master could mean that you are on the master branch. Perhaps you should go to a new branch you created to do that, or it could be that you are on another branch that you should go back to the master branch. So it could mean anything at all. Okay. Perhaps you could inbox me with a picture of the error message and could attend to it. Okay. Any other person, just tell me which of the projects you have issues. Me, I haven't done Git. Yeah. You must project. I will have question when I will do it. Okay, Stephen, I've seen your question. I've seen your text. That's all right. There's no problem. Kigali, please speak. Hi, Kigali. Hello. Kigali left the meeting. So everybody's good on their tax. Nobody has issues somewhere. Okay. Kigali, please ask your question. Kigali? I think I lost you. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Go on.
Yes. Hello.
I can hear you now. Go on. Go on. I can hear you.
Okay. I wanted. Yes. So I wanted to ask. What happens when you mistakenly commit something with the wrong message, and then you want to fix it? Like, how do you undo a commit when you've already pushed?
Okay, that's a nice one. Okay, actually, there are commands you could use to undo your commit up to a particular place, but you are not to do that in ALF. They don't want you to do that. So let's say you committed and you used the wrong message. All you could do is, okay, I don't have any file here. Let me add something. This is my new file. Hold on there. Okay. This is no such file or directory. Got this file. Okay, sorry. Echo this okay, so this is my readme file now, and so let me cut it. This is what is inside, and then I git add, I commit, and I push. And I realized that I was supposed to write my first readme file, not this is my readme file. Okay, what you could just do is to modify the what you wrote. So I could just go back and say, I just go back and change the message. That is just all you need to do. Just change the message and say my first readme file, and then you go on to, and then you add, you commit, and you push. That's all you need to do. Solve that. You don't need to maybe destroy your sandbox and start all over again. So, Gigali, please, do you understand that?
Yes, I do understand. So my issue is that I tried doing that, and I even deleted and recreated some files, but it kept saying what's this? It's up to date. Committed up to date. There's nothing new to commit.
Okay.
My issue was with the commit message specifically.
Okay, that usually happens when perhaps also check that your commit message is correct, because if you are using a wrong commit message, maybe you are using lowercase when you are supposed to use uppercase, it's not going to work. Yes, it will not work. So it has to be exactly how it is given. Let me show us an example. Let's say here, my commit message is my first commit message. If I should use a lowercase m here, it's not going to work to bounce back. Now, when they say everything is up to date, that means the same thing you had is what you are trying to push back. So there is no changes. Excuse me. So you go back and check your okay. Let's say your commit message is correct, your files are correct, and commit message is correct. But just because you made a change and you want to do something, let me show you something.
Okay.
Okay. So all you could just do to solve that should be to create a random file. I could just say touch and peace, and then I hit enter. So I have created a file. I have made changes to my whole document. So now I can git add, commit, and push, and it will go. If I don't do this and I still try to push the same thing over and over again, it will not go, because everything you have on your webcam is the same thing you have on your GitHub. So why do you want to push it? So you must make a change for it to be able to go. So I could just create a random file and name it peace, and then by the time you git add and git push, it will go. Then I could go on again to remove it. Perhaps I don't want people to, I just use that to push my file, and then I say remove, and then I git add, git commit, and git push again. It will go out of my GitHub. It will work. You can try that right now and see that it will work.
Oh, okay. Because like with the ALEX project, I made a mistake with the commit message, and the check I kept getting an error. I had to delete everything and start from fresh.
No. You don't need to delete your whole repository and start afresh. Just go on to modify something. Just create a random file and push it. It will go. The only part is we have. Okay, so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Someone says, me, I haven't done this. Okay, I don't know why you haven't done that, but they are not going to score you on this. So take your time to understand the concept, Stephen. Now, Susan said, the cloning part is where I've not yet understood. Okay, Susan, someone said, I had the same problem. I wrote the wrong commit. My email. Okay, my email is David. Let me just attend to that person. Yeah, David and Michael at gmail.com. You could also inbox me on the WhatsApp group so I can attend to you quickly. Or you could reach me on Slack with David Inyene. But I'm not always available on Slack. I prefer WhatsApp. But if you don't have WhatsApp, you could reach me on Slack or on email. I'll try to. So let's go to this. The cloning part is where I've not yet understood. Okay, so let's try to clone something else. Okay. Go back here. So when you create, okay, let me just create a new repository. I'm going to delete it. Show us how to clone. So everybody follow me closely. So I'm going to tell us, I will name it cohort 12. Right? And description could be this. Now description should be what they gave you. Yeah, just clone. Create your first repository. Now description should be, okay, look at description. So just copy it the way it is, please. If you should change anything, let's say this place you have a lowercase, it's not going to work. Or here you have an uppercase, it's not going to work. It should be exactly how it is given. So always copy it. Don't say you want to write it. So I'll go back here. Did I even copy that? Okay, I copied it. So I have my description and don't touch any of this. Leave it the way it is and then create a repository. So let me just create that and edit it. Now it's created, right? And then we have this URL here, which is from HTTPS. You could also clone it using your SSH, but simpler you use this. Okay, so to clone it, all you need to do is just to copy this URL. I know on your intranet here, they gave you a whole lot of process to cloning. You have to write git clone, HTTPS, a personal token, and this, that. Okay, let me open up my notepad and let's follow that process. I'm going to show us two processes now we could follow. But the shorter one is the one I'm supposed to show you now, which is you copy this URL. But let me show you the ALX standard first. So I have git. Okay, this is it. I will just copy it. Right. So given that this is going to have its name, so I'll go to my webcam. Let me clear my screen. Let me go back. So all you need to do is to write, okay, git clone. All you need to do is to write this. Git clone HTTPS. Just write this and keep somewhere. Like if you check mine, I have it in my notepad. So every time I just come and copy it, all I need to change is the name here. I just quickly change it here and put something else. So I could just go back to this and change it to cohort 12. Cohort 12. That's all. Just write that and then you hit enter. Now I've cloned it. Yeah. So I will cd. Now if I ls, you see I have cohort 12 inside of this place now. Now if I could cd into cohort 12, see there's nothing here. But this is my cohort 12. Now this is one way of cloning it. So I'll just go ahead and remove that. Cohort 12. Okay, let's check again. I've removed it. You can't see cohort 12 again. Let me close my, okay, let me leave it open. So you could also do it this way. Just copy this URL here. It's copied. Share my screen. And then you just write git. It's almost like the same thing, but I'm not using my token in this case. Then you hit enter. See, it's the same thing. Now, the same message you got, the same message. You've cloned it. Next thing I'll just, now let's ls and see. You see, we have our cohort 12 here. I cd into it. Hit enter. Now there's nothing inside because it's a new repository. That is that. Now once you create a repository and clone it, the next thing you want to do, you cd into that repository that you clone, and then the next thing you should do is to update your identity. You see, I wrote all these things down here so that I won't have issues in typing it. So I will just copy this. I copy Now, why do we update our identity with config dash dash global user.email? So I've done that, and then I go back to taking my username. Enter. So you see, I've done that. Now that's all you need to do. So why do we do this? So that whenever we want to push, so let me create my first readme. This is, so after that, this is what you do. This is my first readme file. I echo it into readme.md. So if I ls, I have readme. So if I want to do this now, we'll just do git add. Now this full stop means add everything you have in this repository. If I wanted to push just a particular thing, I could say readme. It works. That means, let's say I created like 10 files. I don't want to push all of them to my GitHub. I want to push a particular one. All I need to do is just to write the name of that particular file I want to push. Yeah, you will start using that sometime when you see. So I've been added, and then I say git commit -m. This is my first commit. I hit enter, and then I say git push. You see, it's not going to ask me of my password and username. It just push. But if I have not done that, do you know it's going to ask me of my username and password? And whenever it does that, please, your username is your GitHub username, just like mine here. This is my username. And then your password is your token. So you just copy your token and paste. Now, when you paste it, it's not going to show. Yeah, it's not going to show. Just paste it and then hit enter. Command to paste is Control AV. And then you hit enter and you are set. Your file will be pushed. So this is the best way to do it and you won't have issues. So I now have git push. If I come to my GitHub, let's refresh this. You see, my README is here. If I try to open it, this is my first README, exactly what I had there. So that is how you create a repository, create your README, and then you push. So please, who asked that question? Susan, I hope you understand now.
Yes.
Susan?
Yes,
Okay,
I understand.
Okay, no problem. If you still have issues, you can always inbox me on WhatsApp. I will attend to you, or you could email me, but I can't guarantee you that I will attend to you quickly. Or you can reach me on Slack here. Yeah, always answer you. I will drop my social media handles too, so in case you want to reach me there. So someone said I had the same problem. I wrote the wrong commit message, but I used git amend new message and it worked. Yeah, of course it worked. Now I told us that there are a lot of I could restore my what I have here to let's say to when I created it when I don't have any file here, and then I'm going to delete all the commit messages I have. But we shouldn't rush to knowing that. Let's master the basic one. There's a command for that. Okay, so of course that will work. So how do I edit my commit message if I write it wrongly and I have already pushed? I just tell us we should not worry about that command yet. But what you could do, let's say, what did I use here as my commit message? This is my first commit. Let's say this was supposed to be, this is my second commit, but I made mistake with this. Now, if I try to push this again, git commit, then my message is supposed to be this is my second commit. Right? Then I hit enter. It says error. This is my second commit did not match any file known to. Okay, sorry, that was the wrong way of committing. This is my second commit, and then I do this. You see, it says your branch is up to date with origin because everything here is the same thing with what I have on my GitHub. So for you to escape this, what I told us earlier, you could just create a random file. Let's say I name it after that Adetule. I name it Adetule. Okay. So I have a file named Adetule. So I could just git add git commit. Sorry, git commit. This is my second commit. See? So you see if I push. So you see if I push it, it will go. And then if I go to my GitHub here, what do we have here? 12. Let me refresh this. So you see I have my, it has not come yet. This is my first commit. What did I, okay. Let me refresh this again. This is my first commit. Why hasn't it come? 12. Okay, so see, we have it here. This is my second commit. So let's say you've done that and you were just trying to escape that particular thing. So all I'm going to do now is to just remove the raw file. Name Adetule. I have removed Adetule. So just so that people won't see it on your GitHub here. So I'm going to add again is commit -m, and I'll say this is my second commit because that's what we wanted to use, right? On file change, and then I say the push, and then to push. So you see, now if I come back to my GitHub and I refresh, you see that file is out here. And then if you go on to check your code, it's going to work. So this is how we could escape that. Okay, for now, I want us to understand that that's how you could escape it. So Adetule, I hope you understand that now.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Stephen, please ask a question.
Yeah, I wanted to know, Notepad, you use Notepad to write your code and store it before passing it in GitHub.
You mean I use Notepad to write my code?
Yes, you store it before passing it in GitHub.
No, I'm not sure I understood you. Please, I can't hear you.
I'm asking. Notepad, you write your code on Notepad, you save it, and when you are in GitHub, you copy and paste it.
Okay, that's what you mean. No, I don't write my codes on Notepad. What I'm saying is that the git clone message, is usually long. So I just wrote it and I kept it here. So that anytime I want to clone a repository, all I need to do is just to come in here, change the repository name, put my own, then I just copy it. This is my token here, and paste it here, hit enter, it works. Then I cd into it, I do my identity update by copying this, I paste it, it works. Do this again, I copy it, it works. Instead of me having to type it every time I clone a repository. That's what I meant.
What is the use of Notepad? What is the use of Notepad?
No, Notepad does not have any use here. This could just be Microsoft Word. Yeah, this is just where I wrote something down. It does not have any business to do with what we're doing. All I'm just saying is that for it to be easier for me, this is a personal thing. I just wrote all of this down so that whenever I want to do it, I will not have to sit down and start to write all these things again. I just copy it and paste there. Did you see any code here? There are no codes here. It's just these clone messages. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. But just to give us heads up, we could also use your Notepad to write your code. Like, look at here, I wrote a C program here using Notepad. All you need to do is to define the extension. Example.c. This is what I used in teaching yesterday night. So, but that's by the way. So, does anybody have another question? I think we've covered some of the things here. Any questions? So, everybody's clear now on how you could create a repository, how you could clone a repository, and how you could commit and push, right? Okay, nobody has a question. Okay, that's great. Okay, so basically we've come to the end. So if you want to delete your repository, this is where you do it. Click on the settings up there and then you just click on this. Just please type in this, I'll just copy this. And then I click on this. Use GitHub Mobile. Okay. Let me use my GitHub Mobile. Now they will send a code to me on my GitHub, the one I have on the mobile. All you need to do is just to click on that particular code on your GitHub. Confirm. Okay. You just write the code inside. They will give you a prompt. Okay, 20. And then I approve it. You can see that it's on my screen here. So automatically it will delete from here. So you can see cohort 12 is out. So that is that for that. I believe we now understand how we could create our repository, do some other stuff. There was a task here that is supposed to give conflict. I'm surprised everybody understands it. Here, we'll create this and do that. Okay, good. So let me give us head start again on what we might be doing next. Okay, so after your probation, these are the things you are going to do. Shell navigation again, Emacs again. This one is optional background, but I did it. It's just one task. Then VI, Git, you will do it again. So the aim of this particular one is for you to understand the concept. Okay, just understand the concept. Nobody's scoring you on that. Then you will do it again, and then this is where you will end your probation here. So basically, you'll be doing all of this till, yeah, this is where your probation ends. So you prepare your mind because it's not going to be easy. Yeah, the way I do mine, I study ahead. Okay, so if you don't study ahead, sorry for you too. This is a C programming. I'm going to introduce us to this when we start, so we can also partake in this too, and that. And I want to advise us that we should start having partners, like friends, who code with, because there's a project you're going to do, print F. We'll do it with a partner, and if you don't choose a partner, ALX will pay you with anybody, and it could be somebody who is not serious. So I advise you from now, you start looking for friends you could keep. Okay, so I think we've come to the end of the session. That was great. We'll use just an hour and 19 minutes. Since nobody has a question, that's great. We'll understand everything. So till next time, I don't know when next we'll be having a session, but depending on your complaints in the community that you're finding something difficult, then I can host a session for you. But if everybody's okay, then there's no problem. And also, I have a library, where I have materials that you could use. I have materials on Flowchart, pseudocode, all those things you're going to do. I have materials on them. So after now, somebody should remind me. I said last time that I need people that will work close with me. I've not really seen anybody yet, but after now, somebody should remind me. And depending on your activities, I will want you to work with me so that you'll be helping me pass the information and that. If you notice, we have a lot of a lot of groups in the community there. And each of these groups have functions. So at some point, you'll be invited to join another one. It will also expand your learning. But that should be after your probation, so that we will know who is still in the program. So I believe we've covered everything. If you have any questions, you could always reach out to me on WhatsApp. Let me drop my WhatsApp number again. But I am the admin in the group. So if you just, my profile picture, you can't see my profile picture. 0980792. Well, I'm the admin in the group. My name on WhatsApp is Tech with Dave. Yeah, Tech with Dave. So this is my WhatsApp number. This is my email. It's already here. This is my username on Slack. I will drop the links to maybe my Twitter, Facebook, and GitHub too. So in case you want to look up what I've done and stuff like that. So till next time, I wish everybody the best. Okay, you can unmute your mic now and say goodbye to everybody. Where you leave. You can unmute your mic now and say goodbye and that to everybody. We've ended the session. Goodbye. Yeah, good night.